Welcome to Forests and Humans, from the Midwest to Madagascar. I'm Dr. Catherine Woodward, and this week we will begin exploring the diverse forest ecosystems of the world and talk about why they look and function the way they do. Depending on who you ask, there are at least 10 forest biomes on planet Earth, ecosystems dominated by trees and other woody plants. These biomes include some ecosystems you've surely heard of, like tropical rainforests and temperate deciduous forests. But perhaps some you may not be as familiar with, like montane forests and tropical deciduous forests. A map of the world biomes, like this one, might seem complex at first, but in fact there are some really broad global patterns of forest vegetation types, driven largely by climate. For example, look for a moment across the middle of North America. In the east, we find moister deciduous forests, while at the same latitude in the west, we find drier chaparral and desert vegetation. This pattern is the same in Eurasia. There's deciduous forest in the east and dry Mediterranean chaparral and deserts at the same latitude in the west. By the end of this module, you should be able to explain why these patterns occur. For now, I'm going to simplify all the forest ecosystems in the previous map into 3 broad biomes: the tropical forests, the temperate forests, and the boreal forests. This creates a much simpler map where you can clearly see that these 3 forest types form 3 bands around the planet that coincide nicely with latitude. Tropical forests straddle the equator, from the Tropic of Cancer at around 23 degrees north to the Tropic of Capricorn at around 23 degrees south. Do you know what the 23-degree latitude corresponds to? If you said D, the angle of tilt of the Earth, you are correct. In fact, the definition of the tropics is the area of the Earth between 23 degrees north and south, corresponding to the geographical area where the sun is directly overhead at some point during the year. We'll get back to that in a bit. All tropical forests share certain characteristics. They have high levels of solar radiation, or insolation, year-round, creating warm, average temperatures. They are aseasonal, with little variation in day length and no distinct cold season. Tropical forests have high diversity, but are dominated by broadleaf trees. Conifers are generally lacking. Tropical forests include wet and moist rainforests, semi-deciduous and deciduous dry forests, scrub forests, montane forests, and mangroves. Temperate forests occur to the north and south of the tropics and are subject to greater seasonality, with markedly reduced day length and an extended cold period during winter every year. Temperate forests usually have a mix of broadleaf trees and conifers. Many broadleaf trees, like maples and oaks, are deciduous, losing their leaves in winter. Temperate forests include mixed deciduous forest, coniferous evergreen forests, broadleaf evergreen forests, and shrubby chaparral. Nearer the poles, between about 50 and 65 degrees latitude, we find the world's most extensive forest type, the boreal forests, or taiga. Because there isn't much land mass at these latitudes in the southern hemisphere, taiga is really restricted to the northern hemisphere, and most of it occurs in Canada and Russia. The taiga is the largest ecosystem on the planet, representing nearly 30% of the world's forest cover. It's subject to a very long, dark winter with extreme cold and a short growing season in summer, usually not more than 3 months. This forest is dominated by conifers like spruces, firs, and larches. The overall diversity is low, but different species dominate in different regions. Before I proceed to describe the characteristics of tropical, temperate, and boreal forests in more detail, let's make sure you understand some of the fundamentals of global climate, and specifically, what causes the seasons.